Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the CoinGeek Weekly live stream. I am your host, Kurt Wuckert Jr., doing the wired monitor thing because I've had a firmware issue with my AirPods or something. Naturally, I discovered it in the last 24 hours and have been scrambling to find a solution for the sake of the live stream. And, I don't exactly have a perfect solution. I hate wearing wires. So hopefully the microphone and everything works well. I can actually hear myself. It's monitoring my own voice now, which is a little bit weird. So it's going to be one of those things. I want everybody to know there's a lot of people already watching. We've got about 55 people watching now. But let everybody know, share this video around. Let them know that there will be one wallet, one single wallet donated by Satoshi that has one whole BSV on it, but it will be a password protected QR code wallet. So you need to use Simply Cash this week in order to claim the big prize, the bonus. And you're not going to want to miss it. We always get the snipers who snap up those wallets instantly. I believe they are sitting there nonstop holding their phone up to the screen. And that's cool. Power to them. But we want to give people an extra little opportunity to try to have to do the fast type thing. The password will be given as the wallet is given, so it's going to be a surprise. So you need to stay engaged, and you need to be ready to sweep that. So it's going to be the big giveaway. It's the biggest giveaway we have ever done on the CoinGeek Weekly live stream, and it's going to be really, really cool. So please let your friends know. Please share this out. Let everybody know. Put the video link, put this YouTube link or whatever else, or wherever you're watching. I guess you could also be watching on Periscope or Facebook or elsewhere, but please share, like, subscribe. It really, really helps us out when the world knows that they can watch the CoinGeek Weekly live stream every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's Chicago time for anybody that's unaware. We're going to talk about a few things today. We're going to have our guest, Robert Rice, come in a few minutes. He is the head founder, lead this and that of Omniscape and Transmira, the AR/VR platform of the future built on Bitcoin SV. But we will let him explain the details on that. I want to talk a little bit about the news of the day as you get your questions, comments, blessings, cursings, gripes, and gropes all queued up here in the troll box for the lovely Alex Moon to send to us. So if you have any questions about AR, VR, or anything else, please queue them up. We need Alex to remain employed. It's part of his parole, the terms of his parole out of the Thai prison where he was 2 weeks ago, that he needs to stay gainfully employed. So please keep this troll box hot, ladies and gentlemen. But let's talk a little bit about some of what's going on. First of all, BSV hit almost $300 USD today, which would be a happy, snappy high point. And, good to see number go up, even though we don't talk about it too much here. But also there's been some really interesting news in the last 24 hours. Broke that the Crypto Open Patent Alliance announced that they would be suing Dr. Craig Wright in order to basically take away his powers to control the white paper and everything else, which I think is interesting. I actually think I'll give my personal view on it. I'm a CoinGeek guy. I'm a company man, I suppose, but ultimately I think it's a mixed bag. I think there's some good things that absolutely will come of it when we actually break out all of the evidence proving who Craig is or who Craig is not. I think that actually does come out in our favor. However, the negative on that, I see it just like I always do, as a little bit of lost opportunity, a little bit of lost narrative where we could be building really cool business stuff. Now, I'm a media guy, so I do really well when there's controversy and news and who he said, she said, blah, blah, blah. But what I really want to see is Bitcoin SV used in big business. And every time, every penny that we're spending on lawsuits and some of the drama stuff, while I find it juicy and while I like it personally, and it's going to be really great for my role as historian to talk about for many years, I really want to see people not so much talking about the individual members of the BSV community, but I want us to be building really big, cool things that can only be built on Bitcoin SV. That's the exciting thing. That's what we should all be excited about. So for anybody that doesn't like the drama, my only suggestion for you is to get out there and build something cool. there are developers out there that need work, and there are idea men out there who need developers. So if you've got some really great idea, there's actually also money floating around. A lot of angel investors in the space that want to be involved in some really cool projects. So this is our opportunity. We truly have built our homes on the land that controls all of the future oil of the future economy, the data economy to come, the data economy which we are building. And I truly believe that out there in the CoinGeek Weekly live stream audience are the future John Rockefellers and Andrew Carnegies and JP Morgans and those giant titans of industry that have yet to build the big things, and or in some cases are building them silently or not so silently. And I think Robert could be one of those people who we're going to be talking to in a few minutes here, talking about a big step forward in the use of Bitcoin for really cool business stuff. So we're going to cut to an ad. We're going to let the advertisers have their say, and then we will move right over to our interview of the week. So Alex, without any further ado, let's see that ad.
Hi, it's Jimmy Nguyen, founding president of Bitcoin Association. I'm excited to announce that the next CoinGeek conference will be held in Zurich, Switzerland. Join us when CoinGeek will again broadcast live to the world, bringing you exciting new developments in the Bitcoin SV ecosystem. Registration is open now, and stay tuned for more details about CoinGeek Zurich.
Robert, how are you, sir?
Very good, very good. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. It's temperature's finally gone up in Chicago, so I get to get a little bit of sunlight, and it's great to not be the whitest person in the universe. So that's good. I'm excited about that. Robert, I know you just came from essentially a world tour here. You were, as I understand it, in Dubai and Sudan and some other stuff, but I don't think a whole lot of people know exactly what was going on with either thing. People may not even know what the Retosa Summit is or what was going on in Sudan. Can you let us know what have you been up to the last 2 weeks or however long it was?
Yeah, I'm actually not sure. All the travel and everything else has just really fried my brain. So long story short, the Jimmy and the Bitcoin Association invited me to participate in a couple of interesting things. And one of them was the Retosa Global Family Investment Office Summit over in Dubai, which was seriously, like, it's a high-end, very prestigious, kind of elite sort of thing for family offices, sovereign wealth funds. You know, it's kind of like the World Economic Forum Davos level of people there. It's kind of small, only a few hundred attend, but the combined value of the investment dollars and whatever there, I think the last one was something like $4.5 trillion, which is just eyeball watering amount of capital. And a lot of I think that the one in like December, for example, the the Minister of Finance for Israel was there. A lot of cabinet level ministers, some royalty. I mean, it's just really, really huge. So I was there with several other awesome BSV companies, talking about blockchain, talking about digital transformation, kind of these real world use cases, actually that have business sense to them. And this time around, the response was just absolutely amazing. I can't thank the Bitcoin Association or the Retosa Family Office enough for the opportunity. It was just crazy. And then as a secondary thing to that, some whole lot of things are going on in the background. And then over, I guess maybe the last month or so, this opportunity arrived for the little Bitcoin Association contingent to go to Sudan. And for those that aren't up on their, their world, political history, Sudan's been underneath a 30-year, kind of sanction and lockdown, and are kind of stuck in the early 90s, basically. And they just opened up, within the last year. So the Bitcoin Association contingent was pretty much the very first non-political, non-government official visit to Sudan, like at all, in 30 years, which is, it's wow. It's an industry. I mean, it's a huge historical thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were there, and I can't even tell you how many, again, cabinet level ministers that we met with. We had amazing hosts down there. Our patron was the Minister of Telecommunications and Digital Transformation. and it was awesome. The people were immensely friendly. They're very smart. They're very excited about BSV and blockchain, and they are eager. I mean, absolutely eager to do and build and create and kind of level up the whole country. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that really is. That's there it is. The first opportunity to win the free BSV for anybody there. All the snipers in the box. It looks like we also have a scammer here in the comments pretending to be.
There's always one.
So looks like Alex nuked it. Alex has 30 seconds to nuke the scammers lest he go back to prison. So good job, Alex. Proud of you. I believe in you, man. We're gonna keep making this happen. I had heard very briefly that the Sudan thing was going to happen at the last moment, and we were discussing at CoinGeek, like, hey, how do we cover this? What's even going on? And then I was surprised to see you guys were in Sudan for maybe 3, 4, or 5 days or something.
No, it was the whole week. It was supposed to be a 2-day summit. We're like,
okay.
Oh, surprise. No, they were so excited that we came there. More and more. I mean, what was it? So we had the Minister of Telecommunications, which was the patron and the sponsor, and then the Minister of Finance, the Central Bank, the Minister of the Interior. I mean, they all just started lining up and adding on and adding on, and then it just became like this really big deal. And when we got there, they rolled out the red carpet for us. We had military escorts wherever we went. Car front, car in the back, blocking traffic, and it was amazing. I have to say.
That's awesome. I imagine some of this is confidential, but I'm curious, what were the conversations like? What did they actually want to learn? Were they privy to sort of the vague notion of what Bitcoin is, or what were you actually there to do?
Yeah, so it was kind of just a little bit of like an educational thing. Nobody was there to sell anything or try to get them buy BSV or buy my company. Right. It was more like, hey, we've got some amazing tech, blockchain and BSV, and here's how it can help your company or your country, and here's the ways. So there was a lot of conversations around digital identity or commerce or land ownership, banking. I mean, some of them are fairly dry topics. But really interesting in the context of, you've got, a lot of people out there, it's all about buy my coin, and that's all you hear from them all day long. And then you contrast that to the BSV community, or at least, the companies in our contingent. And it was like, hey, here's how you can use this tech to make this better for your population. Sure. And I think that actually resonated really well and has been resonating with a lot of, enterprise or government class entities, where you compare that again, you buy my coin all day long, it just doesn't go anywhere. And one thing that was really surprising, there were a lot of students that showed up from the university in Khartoum, and quite a few of them were where I'm working on my master's in cryptography, or well, yes, I've been studying blockchain for years, and here's the things that I built with it. And I'm like, okay, wow, even for a country that's been really depressed and kind of locked out of stuff, the students are really on the ball, and they were way more up to speed and educated on blockchain topics than you would expect.
No, that's fascinating. So let's change gears a little bit. I don't know you very well, so I would love to hear what's your Bitcoin story? How'd you get involved in Bitcoin, and how'd you end up being a big blocker, Robert?
Yeah, so I have to say my very first experience was probably, 10 years or so ago. I had an employee of mine, was a pretty cool programmer dude. He came up and said, hey, Robert, I know we kind of have this deal, and we had a creative deal. He asked to be paid in his normal, whatever salary reduced, but the condition was I had to give him pizza and beer anytime he wanted it. So I got a good deal and he got a good deal. Right? We were both very happy with it. So he comes up, he's like, hey, I want to change our deal a little bit. I'd like to be paid in Bitcoin. I'm like, what are you talking about? What's this Bitcoin shenanigans of you talking about? And so I ultimately did not pay him in Bitcoin, but if I had, he would be a crazy, crazy wealthy person now. But yeah, I kept my eye on it, but there really wasn't need for me to kind of dive into it too much. And then a few years ago, and again, there's a larger backstory here in terms of what we're building. It became pretty apparent that blockchain is really a fundamental and necessary technology needed to build what I'm trying to build and to do it right. And so, looking around and doing our typical technical evaluation and stuff, a friend of mine, Dana Farbo, introduced me to, Phil Ratchcott and Jimmy Nguyen. It's like, hey, you've got to talk to these BSV guys. That's what you need, and it's way better than all the other stuff that's out there. And I said, okay, sure, I'll check it out. And I went to CoinGeek in London last January, a year ago. Sure. And I was completely floored and blown away. I mean, again, nobody tried selling me any coins, which was a huge deal. And the community was just open. It was generous, and everybody was all like, hey, I'm building this, and what are you doing? Can I help you? And that. And I mean, I've been around for a while. I've earned all my gray hair.
Sure.
And I've been to multiple conferences in multiple industries, and I've never ever seen a community like this. I was like, okay, so I'm sold on the community. Now let me dig into the tech. And there you go. It's speed, scalability, and cost effective, and it's just awesome. So I was like, okay, I don't mind planting the flag and being the one guy in the AR VR space is giving everybody else, the proverbial middle finger. Like, I'm going this way. The rest of you guys are stupid. Go ahead and do your little Ethereum whatevers, and let me know when you hit your scale wall. So I'm not getting a ton of press for sure about it, but I don't care. The tech is solid, and I'm in this for the long run to build something that's big and amazing that'll actually work. I'm not in trying to buy my coin.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because that's really the business model, frankly. I mean, you look at all of these Silicon Valley founded pseudo startups that are, hey, we're going to do this cool thing, but you got to buy this token, and the cool thing comes out in 6 months, and then token goes 10,000x, and it's okay, sell everything and exit. That's obviously the best business decision to make at that point. So then these cool ideas never come to exist. And we have a comment here, a question from Charlie saying, how have you found developing on Bitcoin SV, especially an AR VR solution? Do you have development experience in any other blockchain space, or is BSV the first place that you landed? And what's the experience like? I'm curious to hear how that shakes out.
So for me, I'm not a coder at all. And all of your magical blockchain language confuses me. No, I'm a technologist. So it's my job to evaluate, identify, and then kind of architect the things that I then hand off to the code guys to, go actually build. And without them, we're not getting anywhere. But so as a company, our first choice and experience was straight to BSV. And it took me a few months to kind of make that decision because I'd like to do my homework and everything else. So far it's been kind of a little mixed because we're trying to do so many other things at the same time too. It's not like we're just doing a game or we're just folding in blockchain. There's some really fundamental things that I've had to wrap my head around that are linked back to our patent and are also linked to just how all this is constructed. I mean, so on one end, kind of what we're doing is at least right now, is very oriented towards the marketing experiential, sort of stuff. Kind of like Pokemon Go for brands, right? You find a 3D object, you scan it, some blockchain magic happens, and you get a real free coffee or whatever. Right. But the bigger picture of what we're building, we're trying to actually build, the metaverse, right? And when you look at what everybody else is doing or saying, it's really actually more of a multiverse. Oh, we're doing a bunch of 3D connected worlds. It's like, yeah, I don't care. But when you really sit and think about, I'm going to answer the question kind of in a circuitous sort of way. When you think about what the metaverse really is or should be, it's the whole point is meta, right? It's this thing that is all encompassing and wraps around everything else. And one of the differences that we have as a company is we're blending AR and VR together, which is they're normally viewed as two different parts of a spectrum. But I think no, instead of it being a horizontal spectrum, it's more like a vertical stack, right? And with location down at the bottom, who you are, where you are, blah, blah, blah. So when you take that approach, that right off the bat, you're in a different paradigm of how to put these pieces together. And then when you layer in blockchain, you need it for identity, you need it for securing all the virtual goods, really linking that real world thing to this digital thing. And like, even now everybody's like, oh my gosh, NFTs are amazing. But what are you actually buying with NFT? I'm buying a link to a JPEG somewhere. There may not be there in 6 months. Like, this is the most useless thing ever. But when you look back into the context of what I'm trying to build, it goes beyond that, right? I'm buying a digital 3D thing that's linked to this other real world, product or service. And this becomes like a bearer bond, or it's like a 3D object with a built-in smart contract. If I have the 3D car or the 3D coffee cup, I can actually go somewhere and say, hey, give me my thing. Here's the exchange. This is mine. And just that alone is already a leap ahead of what everybody else is even beginning to think of for NFTs. But in the bigger context of how are we taking BSV and applying it in very slowly, because it's like, okay, we know how all this works, but we also have to think ahead, 5 or 10 years of what those cool user experiences are going to be like. I mean, we've all seen Ready Player One. We've read Neuromancer. We've watched The Matrix. Like, that's all really cool. Minority Report, right? I want holograms in my living room talking to me.
Right.
Well, you have to figure out how to do that stuff before you start throwing, blockchain at it, if you want to do it the right way. And we are all about doing it the right way, and it's going to be, pretty eye-popping when we pull it off. So
that's awesome. So I got a question here again from Charlie saying, when you did your homework, what was the decisive factor that made you choose BSV? What was it, the community, or was it a specific thing about the tech, or what made you say, okay, this is the way we're going?
Probably the first thing off the bat was just scale. Simply that. For what we're trying to do, it's going to require a massive scale, beyond the likes of what you would think. Yeah. So that was number one. The second one was the transaction cost. With what we're doing, we're not trying to build a crypto thing for crypto people. I'm trying to build something that's going to, impact pretty much every vertical industry, way of life.
Yeah.
So, for a grandma or, a teenager or whatever, you have to download MetaMask and do this wallet and got to learn this thing here. And, there's an airdrop and like, blah, blah, like, no, it's too much. I would say for probably 80% of what we're going to do, the end user isn't even going to know that magic is happening on blockchain. And for the other 20%, there's going to all the geeks in here are going to like really have fun with the other stuff, right?
Sure.
So yeah, and then of course the community was just icing on the cake, to be honest. And I honestly I can't say enough good things about people just overall in the BSV communities. I kind of have like a no jerk, no asshole policy for people I hire and work with, and so far I've not had that policy interrupted with the community as a whole. It's been like really cool people. Yep. So they don't always all laugh at my jokes, but it's been awesome. So I have no regrets, and kind of the pirate capitalist side of me likes to cackle in the background, thinking the rest of the overall BTC ETH community is really going to be crying in their Wheaties in 3 or 4 years, and I'm going to savor it. So
yeah, no, absolutely. So going on to the product, there we go. Got another QR code. Oh. Go get it, snipers.
If you guys are slow, I'm going to scan
it. Go get it, man. We've yet to have a guest nail the QR code, but that'd be pretty cool.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
So, I think a lot of people know vaguely what AR, VR sort of stuff is, especially, gamers do. And then you have the people who sort of vaguely know what Pokemon Go is. And I think I played Pokemon Go for 2 days with my wife until it was like, well, we're adults and we need to, get back to not searching for Charizard in the bushes. But what is it that is actually being built? Are you building a product, or are you building a framework for a product? Because I had Brian Doherty from the Bitcoin Association, who's a personal friend of mine. I've known him for a number of years. He's a colleague. And he's like, Kurt, he sends me this message. Kurt, there's a T-Rex in my front yard. And I was like, he didn't give me any other context. So I was like, are you armed? Like, I guess call the police and be ready to defend yourself, And he's like, no. And then he explained to me that it was your product and that you were testing it with him or something. And he's like, this is incredible. It's giant. It's 30 feet tall. Like, he was just like, he was, he may as well have been a 10-year-old boy playing a video game in his front yard, Right. And I was like, well, shoot, if we elicited that response out of a adult male with his, I know he's got a busy schedule and stuff. And he's like, I played with it for, it was like a kid on Christmas, truly. And he's just like, Kurt, this is going to be so big. This is so awesome. And then it occurred to me, I'm like, well, what the hell? Like, what do we do with the T-Rex? There's got to be like, sure, airdropping a T-Rex is fun, but there's got to be a grander vision there. So what would you say you do, Robert?
Right. I'll tell you, and I'm also going to answer Mr. Weather King's question in a second. I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Sure.
So it's kind of tricky. This is where I really love what I do, but it's also a real pain trying to explain it to people sometimes, because it seems like there's a lot of moving parts. But when you really wrap your head around it, you're like, oh, that makes sense. It's not as complicated as it sounds. So I say at the core, we're building the fundamental building blocks and the infrastructure for the next, evolution of the internet. But we're also trying to build a business. So there's going to be, products and, whatever wrapped around it.
Yep.
And kind of the overall approach to doing like the experiential marketing stuff first is because it's easy money. The people are hungry for it. And the value that we can give brands right now is It's just crazy. But again, the bigger picture is it's a much bigger picture. So I'll use our app for example. You can go and you can download our app. Please don't, because it's mostly there for testing and demos, right? There's no content, and I'm scared crap, that somebody's going to download like 1 star. There's no content here, but that's okay. If you do download it, you'll get like a little puppy and some other just random things in your living room. They don't do anything, so they're not worth anything, but they're just there for demo. But one of the cool things that we can do is I can literally drop any 3D object or content anywhere in the world in like 30 seconds. It's in real time. So when I was talking to Brian, it's like, hey, what's your address? And he told me, it's okay, drag, drop, go in your front yard. And he was like, wow, what the hell? And like that makes for a great demo when you're talking to people, because they don't really realize that it's that easy for me to do, and we can just kind of do it. But then your next question is like, okay, so why is that important? It is and it isn't. It's important because it's really damn cool that I can target your front lawn, or your backyard or whatever. But in the things that we're doing for the brands and whatever, there's also going to be a whole set of user tools. So if you want to do your own, backyard scavenger hunt, or maybe you want to, drop a whole bunch of 3D stuff at the bar crawl you and your buddies do, or whatever, you'll be able to do that real easy. And then you can share that for free. We want to make that easy for everybody. But then if you want to put it on like the public layer for everybody to see, then we'll charge you like $1 or something, and it'll be public for a week, right?
Sure.
But kind of what's really fun though is trolling. So for those of you out there that really like to troll, you're going to love this stuff. So for example, and I'm going to start some brand wars, the likes of which nobody's ever seen.
Nice.
So imagine if Burger King goes out and starts dropping 3D, Whoppers on, inside of every McDonald's in the U.S. Pick up this Whopper, go across the street, get it for a penny, right? McDonald's is going to lose their minds, but people are like, "Oh, this is cool. I'm getting out of line, going across the street."
Right.
And then I thought, okay, well, that's kind of fun. What if a bunch of Duke students, went over to like UNC, basketball court and started dropping Duke, 3D, mascots all over the place.
Right.
All those UNC people are really, down here in the Raleigh-Durham area. We've got Duke, UNC, and NC State and all that. And man, when basketball time, this is like fights start out in bars over this sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's going to be really good for trolling, which is not the point of the company, but I just like to acknowledge that.
No, I like it, man. I mean, as a ruckus rabble rouser type myself, I very much like some of the implications of that.
Yeah, well, the next time there's a BTC conference somewhere, let's drop some BSV tokens all over the place. All right, I mean, what are they going to do? Right?
Digital dragons, full size Craig Wright standing on stage.
100%. Yeah, look, seriously, and like scale doesn't make a difference either. So that's the fun thing with this tech. But yeah, so I mean, these are just some of the basics, but there's other pieces here too. There's like, for example, there's a lot of other companies out there selling virtual real estate. You've got your Decentraland sort of thing where it's 3D world, and then you've got your other guys that are like, oh, buy a country, and like that's okay, that's cool, but it's a game, right? And they're just pushing their tokens. But in our case, it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to do virtual real estate too, but in a completely different way. So getting back to what I said earlier about like this vertical stack, it starts with location, right? So when you buy one of our locations, like, okay, yeah, now what? But it's like we can put like 3D buildings and content on the map, like for like your office, whatever, and then we can link that to a digital twin or just whatever you want to link your Valheim server, your Minecraft server, or your YouTube channel, whatever you want. You can link back to that building, which is fun for a lot of things, especially the whole Ready Player One, private sort of whatever. Yeah. But also as far as commerce, collaborations, shopping, I mean, it's a whole nother way to think about the concept of going somewhere and interacting in that 3D space, right? And then we can start layering in like IoT data. So now what you're interacting with in the VR sort of thing is actually driven by what's happening in the real world. And then at the same time, if you're there with your mobile phone or your cool Apple glasses, you'll be able to see the other half of that data. So it's all connected. So I could log into your office as an avatar, and as I'm moving around, because it's like that one-to-one link, you'll have a hologram of me in your office moving around, because it's the same, right? And vice versa. I know where you're sitting at, so I'm going to have an avatar of you up in the VR space. And now we've got this amazing crossover between AR and VR, and like people just crazy collaborating and whatever. And then there's even more to this. So, let's say Starbucks or, Burger King comes in and they want to throw down their 3D objects everywhere. We'll do a revenue share back with whoever happens to own the location. So it's like, okay, so I'm going to buy some locations, just sit and wait. And then as traffic starts happening, it attracts more brands, spend more money, consumers get more free stuff. And then whoever was smart enough to grab those locations is going to, make some money.
That's
and then,
incredible.
Yeah, right. And then if you want to be like a super entrepreneur, you're going to go buy the local mall and then go to all those businesses and say, hey, guys, I do web development, I do SEO, and I also manage AR, VR. You should totally pay me money and I will handle it for you.
Right.
So there's like these layers of what you call a virtuous cycle or like a flywheel here built into how this is. I'm gonna be a winner if I can help everybody from a business, a brand, a consumer, or a content creator make money. And like that's where we're focused. And no, I'm not a hologram right now, but I was yesterday.
Well, it's funny, I'm picturing all the things. The entrepreneur in me is like, oh my gosh, like I could sell this to the mall, and we can put up like, hey, download this app on a bunch of posters. And then right before you walk into JCPenney, you can have a giant like, hey, walk across the mall to Macy's instead, or follow me to Macy's, and you have a digital breadcrumb trail and all, just like, there's so many. But then just even like bar games or stuff like that. I mean,
yeah. Look, when you add in location, and then you add in kind of the AR VR blend, and then you add in the virtual goods concept where physical and digital are linked together, at the hip. It's a huge game changer. And for all of you investor people out there, to answer the question, I said I would get to it. We're at the stage now where it's like angel investors, institutional investors. So if you've got a ton of money to spend and you like me and you think I'm a cool genius, give me a call. If you're not in that category, I would say just wait and either grab a whole bunch of real estate when we open that up and then speculate there, or we've actually considered doing some other fun coin related things, but I don't know that that's necessarily a good investment, but it could be fun and interesting, but we're not going to be another buy our coin company. That's not interested in that.
No, I think that's cool. And I think that's the thing that stands out in the BSV economy too, is that while everybody else is trying to sell their token, we see all of these different people. I mean, lots of them come on my show and lots of people go on lots of these shows, and they're talking about, hey, invest in my company, invest in real equity. And we're only interested in accredited investors at this stage. And this is the kind of thing. And like, it really, to me, it signals that the people in the BSV economy are thinking a much longer term game. They're not playing the short ball kind of, I'm going to be gone in 2 years, like the exit is 2024 and I'm living in the Bahamas or whatever, but I just think it's really cool. And it's such a fun idea. And I want to let everybody know, I know for a fact that CoinGeek is working with you on a thing for the conference. I'm curious to hear like what's going on there. Can you share a couple of little tidbits on that front?
Yeah. So at the last CoinGeek, we did probably the most simple thing we could have done. It was sponsor logos 3D, and then we had tied random amounts of BSV to them, and then every so often Jimmy was like, hit the red button, and we would just randomly sprinkle around logos for people to pick up, and they're like 2 cents, or I think the biggest one we had is like $20 worth, right? Yep. And people like on Twitter like, oh my god, there's money in my living room. What is this sorcery? Which was really cool, and it was just people loved it. So this time around, we're 90% probably going to do the same thing again, but we're going to do a lot of other cool and fun things as well. My dev team is working away like mad, trying to fight each other over ideas they want to implement. And we're probably, I know we're planning on giving away like $1 million worth of the real estate, the locations. So we're probably going to have a whole bunch of other drops as well. That'll be, worth varying amounts. So I'm just giving it away. I actually win as a company, the more people use the platform. So it's not a bad thing for us to be doing a lot of fun giveaway stuff. But yeah, outside of that, there's a few, we're going to try to make it really cool. I think this time around it should, it's just trust me, hang on. It'll be fun if nothing else. But yeah, we're always going to try to one up the previous conference. So
yeah,
no 3D Elon Musk. It's not happening.
That's fine. Elon Musk might not even actually exist, for the record.
Yeah.
So,
well, I may be in talks to play him on TV, but
ooh, well, that'd be exciting.
not really. No, I don't mean to lie, guys. I'm sorry. He's actually considering playing me on TV. I guess
it will be a good segue for him.
Right?
Pretty great. We got a question here from DSP28, one of the most frequent question askers on the live stream. Thank you for watching every week. How many employees are there at the company, and what is the recruitment URL?
Oh, okay. So technically, we have 0 employees because we're all working as contractors. We're just a small company. But that's going to be changing forthwith. Honestly, the Dubai thing was very good for us, and we've met a lot of amazing potential investor types. So we'll see where that goes. The recruitment URL is my LinkedIn page. So go to LinkedIn and say, "Hi, Robert. You said this was the page." So yeah, just hit me up. Tell me what you can do, what you want to do, and we'll figure it out. I need more people like crazy. And there's opportunities, and there's opportunities within opportunities here. Oh, just as a side note, for anybody that's also a large money investor, but whatever. So kind of the way we're handling all of our locations is very much we want to be like ICANN. So if somebody out there wants to say, hey, this is cool, but I want the entirety of Europe, or I want all of Japan, or whatever, and you want to be a reseller, be a GoDaddy for us, I'm happy to have those conversations all day long.
That's a really good idea. It was actually something I was going to ask. Is like, when you're going to sell locations, that's obviously limited, and can you build can you stack vertically? So I know how GPS works and on a flat plane, but would it be possible for me to buy 30 feet up over over something versus something around ground level?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So I would say yes and no. The way we're handling it, we want to keep it simple. So if you buy a location, you're getting that location up and down. End of story.
Okay.
Having said that, within that, because we're going to be using cloud anchors and a lot of other sort of fun stuff. If you grab a place that's got a 3D WeWork office building on it, here's the thing, right? So you buy the real estate for it, you get slapped down a little 3D building of it, and then you go out and you sell 3D worlds to each one of the floors to all the companies at the office building. Sure. Again, I'm all about helping other people make money, right? So smart real estate guy is going to go, oh, holy shit, I'm going to be able to double and triple and whatever. I'm adding on an extra $5 a month per square foot per lease for the VR version of your office space, right? Yeah, all day long.
I'm picturing the augmented reality Constellation apps, and then it's this Constellation sponsored by Pfizer.
Okay. So if COVID hadn't messed with us, we would be a year in advance of where we are now. I was actually thinking about opening up the real estate for the Moon and Mars last February, a leap year, because it would have been perfect marketing for that. So actually, there's a quick question here from Rebecca. Land-based gambling industry. Okay, so 2 things. A, we are gonna be opening up a marketplace for people that want to sell and trade the locations. We're always going to charge X for it, and $1, every 2 years, whatever, to renew. But if people want to resell them all day long, again, just like domain names, you're more than welcome to. As far as the regular gambling industry, if those guys were smart, they should all be on the phone throwing money at me. With COVID and everything else, the casino, just like any other tourist sort of industry, has really been depressed. And one thing that we are really good at least with the AR elements, is driving foot traffic, right? So for Caesar's Palace or something to be throwing 3D gambling tokens inside of people's homes, like, hey, come back, we're gonna give you a free room or whatever. It's a way for a brand or a casino to engage with either consumers they already know or to find new consumers. What's to keep the Luxor from dropping cool Egyptian sort of things all over Aria or one of the other casinos, and to attract and pull people in. And then 2, again, a 3D object is a 3D object to me, whether it's a cube or it's a sexy anime avatar. So when you start thinking about customer service, concierge, hotel front desk, your bank teller, or even your Amazon Alexa in the corner of your room, give me about 12 months, and you guys be able to have a 3D Alexa in your rooms, and then you can pay me money to dress her up however you like, or whatever. You think Epic is making money on custom avatar skins? It's like, no, come on, man. I want rabbit ears, a French maid outfit, and a Darth Vader mask. It's we're going to be printing money on our own at some point.
Make her look like one of those real dolls, though.
It's all polygons, man, and adjustable. Look, you think character creation is a big deal for the RPG industry now, and people spend hours on it? Man, wait till you've got a personal 3D avatar following around. Screw talking to my phone in Siri. I'm like, hey Siri, yo, what's up?
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, it's great, but it's terrible. I have to ask. I mean, we would love, just so you know, I'm throwing this out there now. This wasn't pre-planned. I would love to have something cool associated with the CoinGeek live stream here. If we can do some kind of a, let's do something fun. I don't know what, but Alex, start taking notes, start brainstorming. We're gonna do something cool for the viewers here, because this is, I mean, I got all my wheels turning. This is such a fun idea, but like,
yeah, imagine living in my head. I can't keep up with myself sometimes.
We got Patrick asking here, what are some of the most exciting use cases you see for Omniscape's technology? I know you've mentioned a number of them. What's a crazy one you'd like to see?
So there's a couple. Personalized avatar holograms. This is awesome. Sorry.
No problem.
Choking myself up here. So I think probably the biggest use case is the overall thing that we're building. It's literally the metaverse. I'm not trying to build multiverse. I'm trying to do something that should impact everything. And if I do my job right, then all the use cases are going to be cool. But having said that, I think there's some interesting things for education that are coming or whatever. But early on, it's really about making it easy for other people to build, create, share, and then monetize, right? That's where I went. The minute I log onto Twitter someday and I see some random guy I don't know posting a video of this cool thing he made and then shared it and like made $50 on or whatever, then I will know, okay, wow, I've succeeded, right? And then in terms of other, like, we all want to change the world. As an entrepreneur, you say, I'm going to change the world. And it's like, hey, cool. Right. How is your game going to change the world, right? But, again, when we think about stuff, I always try to think ahead, again, 5 or 10 years, and then deconstruct those user experiences and try to figure out, what are the things we need to build here that I can leverage the most to do all the big stuff, right? And when we think about, like what I said earlier, of trying to blend in, here's my house, here's my 3D house, and kind of back and forth. But let's say for a minute, you've got a child that's maybe learning disabled, or maybe he's had a really bad traumatic experience, or something bad's happened, right?
Sure. And
maybe they can't relate to adults very easy. It's hard getting them to a therapist's office, or they really don't want to talk to the police because police are scary, right?
Yeah.
So in that particular case, we could have a therapist or a law enforcement officer log into your house to the VR version, right? And then pick a Dora the Explorer or Barney the Dinosaur as their avatar.
Sure.
Right. And then now in my living room, there's Barney, right? Or Dora talking to my kid at their level in a way that's non-threatening to them. They'll open up like, oh, this is like my imaginary friend. I can trust Dora the Explorer, because she's taught me how to read, or whatever.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, wow, we just completely changed the game for helping children. I mean, the same thing that could be done for education or whatever, but it's a different way to look at the tech that actually has some real world value to it, without being, oh, I have to have a head mounted display, and I got to do this, I got to get MetaMask, and I got to do all this crazy complicated crap. Yep. It's like, no. We just want to make it easier for people to, communicate basically, but also learn more about the world that's around them and people that are around them. It's not just a 3D world off in the middle of nowhere. This is like, no, we're trying to do impactful stuff from the ground up.
Speaking of the head mask, there we go. Got another wallet there. Go. Just snag it, Robert.
Where's
you probably
my phone?
Already missed it. So if you were to, you mentioned head hardware. Google Glass is something that I thought was like, hey, cool idea. Probably a decade too early, because what are you interacting with? And I'm curious, how do you see that playing out? Like, if we were to go 5 years in the future, do you see people like using their phones to do the display, or do you like any hardware? No hardware, zero headgear.
Yeah, no.
What do you think?
So I'm actually a big fan of the hardware when it's to the point where I'm putting on a pair of Oakleys, right? Which we're close to, but without diving into the really hardcore technical stuff about waveguides and the light bending and all the other sort of stuff. So Google Glass was great. It was early and it was really good, but they had the glass hole problem, and then people really misunderstood it. It should have been way more useful than it was. But even then, on like the Google side, I'm not sure they actually knew what they were doing. So I know that when they were thinking about how to relaunch it, they were looking at use cases like yoga and some other like guys, now you're way off base.
Right.
But when you look at what else is going on, you've got some pretty sophisticated stuff, like the Vue 6 guys, the HoloLens. There's some good bits and pieces out there, but the hardware is still too heavy, it's too bulky, too expensive. And then other things like Apple glasses, whenever they come out, I think people are going to be shocked in the sense of they're expecting a Magic Leap level, marketing propaganda, and what they're going to get is an advanced version of Google Glass. Right. It's not going to be 3D everywhere. It's going to be little data bits off to the side, or maybe you'll get some basic 3D stuff, but not like this amazing what you see on TV. And I think that is going to upset a lot of people, but that's kind of where we're at. Yep. And if anybody says they have 3D, contact lenses that do all this stuff, they're lying. That's like, yeah, they can do a pixel or maybe a little bit of text, but you're not going to get, Call of Duty, Fortnite running around your living room anytime soon.
Yeah, full HUD.
No, not. Well, I mean, we're close, but not quite there. But having said that, with your phones, and there's literally 1.8 billion of these that are AR ready, like right now, and these things can handle some pretty amazing 3D. That's my awesome screensaver. Pretty awesome 3D stuff, like right now. So we want to be accessible. So this is where we're focusing as a baseline. Sure. And then having said that, again, we're futurists and we'd like to think ahead. So, if somebody came out with the amazing Oakleys tomorrow, it would be like a PlayStation 32, right? Here's this cool hardware, but where's the games? There's no content. For sure. So everything that we're building now, we're building with an eye to the future, but we want to make it accessible today. So, we've got like this whole level of detail, sort of planned in, where it's like a 3D chair on my phone is going to look like this. And it's going to look like this with the Apple glasses, whatever. It's still the same chair. It still has the same properties and everything, but the presentation is abstracted out. So, which has other use cases and applications in terms of mapping, point clouds, and scanning things and everything else. But like this dynamic level of detail is really going to come into play when somebody comes out with the amazing glasses or whatever. We'll already have everything ready to go. So sure. It'd be like a little box with like a little Alice in Wonderland tag. This is Wear Me, and you put them on, and then entire new vistas and dimensions will open up for you. But you'll already be used to it because it'll be on your phone.
I love it. No, I think that's smart, and just like anything else, and you have to have that content first because cool tech is cool tech. But if there's nothing to do with it, then I think that's exactly what Google Glass, what their problem was. For anybody watching, I just want to give a little reminder. Please like, subscribe, share. Let everybody know we're talking to Robert here, talking about the future of AR, VR on blockchain. It's been a really good episode so far. And I want everybody to know that the big 1BSV giveaway has not yet happened. And when Alex posts it, he will also post the password. So it's not necessarily the fastest sniper, but it will be the fastest sniper with the fastest keyboard fingers as well in order to claim the big 1BSV prize. Thank you to Satoshi and freebsv.com. We would be nowhere without our sponsors. And now thinking about all the sponsorship logo opportunities, I would love to just have sponsor logos floating around my head so that only the center of my face is showing and everyone else is paying us. So bam, there it is. So man, there's so much cool stuff here. Like I feel like this has been a podcast or a live stream full of like, wow, that's incredible. So I have to ask, where can people continue to keep up with the wow, this is incredible? Where can they get updates, and is there any way that they can be participating in some of this stuff now rather than the big soon that you hear from so many other people? And I hate having to say soon all the time too. We're still in that phase, but having said that, our soon for us is a couple of months, right? We're going to have some stuff released before CoinGeek Zurich, and then add CoinGeek Zurich, and then more immediately following it. So pretty much for the rest of this year, there's going to be stuff that we're rolling out like one thing after the other, but in stages, because there's a lot of things going on here. I tend to talk the most to my own Twitter account, for which the rest of my staff gives me grief for. Like, no, send them to the Omniscape XR at Twitter account. So go to the Omniscape XR at Twitter, or just follow me personally. It's all good. We do have a website, omniscape.com, which is horribly out of date. It's terrible. I know. I need to change it. Yes, thank you. If you want to volunteer to remake it or help out,
I will throw you some free location credits or some other compensation.
Opportunity.
Look, seriously, there's lots of opportunities. I'm shy on money right now, but I'm big on like amazing opportunity in tech. And you want a life-changing thing in your resume.
Yeah,
I would talk to me.
No, it's huge.
Yeah. So, but that's all changing forthwith. But yeah,
Sure.
go to the website. You know what? Actually, go to the website and at least sign up to be on the mailing list. Because when we start doing, well, I'm going to do some things for whoever the early sign-up people are and the early account users and creators. So getting in now and at least getting on the list and then being the first to open. I mean, we'll let those people know before we let the public know when we start doing some stuff. So.
Awesome. Got a question here from Two Reelers, another frequent question asker on the show. Thank you for your patronage. Saying, have you looked into ML image recognition? I'm guessing machine learning image recognition to provide AR info overlays. Example, show the average price of an item in a store so you can spot bargains.
The short answer is yes. The longer answer is that's more of a specific use case where we would hope that other third parties would build applications and offerings on top of our platform. So our job is to go out and grab the data and make the data easily, accessible. And then either, we'll have features like that, but more likely another developer or even like the grocery store would come to us and say, hey, we want to build this. How do we do it? And we say, oh, here you go. We'll make it nice and easy. But yeah, changing the on-site at location store experience is definitely in there. And, who doesn't want to keep their kids occupied by running around collecting 3D asparagus or you've got a recipe. It's like, how the hell do I make this? Where do I find stuff? Show me where the things are at.
Sure.
Or get that pop-up that says, hey, this food's good for you. This one's bad. Or this is cheaper over at Harris Teeter or Kroger's. You should go there. Sponsored by Harris Teeter or Kroger's.
Yep. That's brilliant. Got a question from Juan saying, will the Omniscape assets be stored on BSV? Like what exactly does that look like in a technical sense?
Yeah. So yes and no. It depends on the asset that we're talking about. So we're doing some things that are going to be related to advanced 3D NFT things, if that makes sense. Okay. Actually, that's a good example. So let's say I've got, a 3D piece. I've got a piece of art and I want a 3D NFT or whatever. Again, normal problem is what happens if it goes offline and it goes away. We're going to fix that because all of those types of assets will be on the blockchain. So there is it's going away. If you buy something, you can rest assured that it's always going to be there and accessible and super exciting. Nice. For other assets, it kind of depends. We're also going to be opening up a marketplace for like 3D artists. You want to make a 3D pink flamingo and sell 1,000 of them to other people that want to make, 3D pink flamingo scenes in their backyards or their neighbor's yard. Maybe their neighbor hates pink flamingos and you want to buy 100 of them. All of that stuff will be on the blockchain because we're building this for persistence and very much for the long term.
That's awesome. And then Bitcoin Becky Legero asking question for Robert. I see Diane's comment regarding esports will be using Omniscape. Can you elaborate how you see esports using Omniscape?
Let me count the ways. That's the fun thing with this. I always ask people that you can challenge me on a market vertical to find that I can always find a use case. Cemeteries are hard, but not as hard as you would think. Who doesn't want a hologram of their grandfather?
I love that. Right. Send a high res photo. We'll turn them into a ghost, and we'll have them go above their gravestone forever.
100%. You can actually. So, just as a side note, one of the things that I want to build when we've got some time or resources, I want to go to New Orleans, find a hole in the wall somewhere, and have like a 3D John Coltrane out front, honking on a sax. Like, hey, John, what's up, man? So, were you here? Did you perform at this place? Tell me about yourself. And have him talk to me. I'm like, wow, yeah, right. Think about again, museums, history, locations, tourism. There's so many things we could do. But for esports, there's a couple of things. So, the experience of being inside the arena. There's so many things that we can do. At some point you're going to get bored looking up and staring at the screen all the time, right? Having 3D avatars right out of Fortnite or pick your League of Legends, roaming the halls or whatever is cool. But also we want to kind of open up an API and stuff. So when you our 3D coffee cup I mentioned earlier, you should be able to find that in a loot box in a game that you're playing and take it out of the game, put it on your phone, and then go to the store and redeem it. So
absolutely,
this idea of transferability across modalities, I think, is important. It also ties into esports. And then going even further, I think the tech that we're building is ultimately going to, flat out change what esports means. Right now, it's a bunch of guys sitting in front of desktops, right? How much cooler would it be if your local high school had an esports team where, 6 or 8 of them put on some, full body suit and a head-mounted display and go to a half court in the gym, and they're playing a team in Czechoslovakia, like I don't know, VR esports tennis or Magic Wizard dueling or whatever. That tech is possible, but nobody's done it or put it together because they're so stuck in their own biases of what AR VR is or could be. Right. And this is there's so many things coming. So this year for us is all about planting the foundational sort of pieces for commerce, location, digital twin, and a few of these other things. And then next year we're going to really start wrapping in a lot more of the tools and the content and insanity. I mean, we're actually going to do some pretty stuff for the Olympics, right? For we don't have to be an official partner. You just pay us money. We'll drop your stuff all over the place.
That's funny. Well, yeah, it's such a cool tool. Guerrilla marketing's great. I used to work in the promotional marketing industry. So
you get it.
Going to a street festival and then handing out promotional products in a viral way. And if you get kicked out, cool, your street team gets kicked out, but whatever.
There's no such thing as bad press, right?
Right.
But think about it this way. So let's say you're in Tokyo and there's no such thing as COVID and you're running around and there's suddenly this cool, Omniscape, game. You got to find 2 or 3 buddies and then you've got to run around the city and collect stuff, right? It sounds simple, it sounds easy, but maybe some of the things you have to collect are 3D puzzles you've got to solve. Here's a 3D rotating obelisk and you're like, okay, well, how the hell do I solve this? And then there's traps, right? Do you remember in Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's that big boulder rolling down the hill?
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, so imagine whipping around the corner in a dark alley somewhere and you get a warning and there's a 3D boulder and you better dodge, right?
That's awesome.
And that's cool. But the best part about all this, and again, I'm a natural troller. I hate to say it, but how much cooler would it be if somebody else who is not in Tokyo, say, I don't know, Toledo, Ohio, is watching? It's like, I like this team. I don't like this team. I will gladly pay Robert $1 to place a 3D trap right around the corner in front of this guy to keep him away from his objective. It's like the whole Hunger Games, the helicopters that would fly in, except with traps or power-ups. But it changes the dynamics of what you think a game or a location actually is. And even from an esports thing, okay, we'll register you and your team of athletes. You've got to get from New York to San Francisco in 7 days. Good luck. And then, that's a whole other level of what esports could be.
No, for sure. That's incredible. Hey, Alex, I got a question for you. When's the big one coming? We got to be coming here. We're coming up on an hour. I'm sure Robert and I could talk, frankly,
a long time,
all afternoon. So I just wanted to get a little heads up here and give Robert the opportunity to do his shout outs and other stuff. So how many wallets do we have left? Just the one, the big one? I can see you. You can give me the 1 or the 2. 1. Okay, well, there's 1 left. The big one is coming. Everybody get ready. You're going to need to put in the password, which is yet to be announced. Alex will put it on the ticker, I believe, or something else. I don't know. I'm sure he's got something cool figured out, but that is coming soon, everybody. And Robert, first of all, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This is awesome. I'm super excited, and I frankly get to hear super exciting things every day, and now I'm extra jazzed about this. So very cool. I got to give you the opportunity here. Any shout outs that you need to give? There it is, everybody. Go snag the big one. Password is Alex Moon. Go get it. We're going to get people in trouble. Whoever wins, the people that win it never say they won it. It's always the people that's not even real.
You have to work out a secondary passcode they can only get after it's been on Twitter.
Yes. So, all right. I got to ask, who deserves a shout out? Who deserves the thank yous? You said you got a lot of contractors out there and you've met a lot of cool people. And now you've been to Dubai and Sudan with a bunch of BA people. I imagine you got a crowd of people to say hello and say thanks and all of that. So what's your list look like?
For sure. It would take me another hour to go through the list. So So first and foremost, I really have to shout out to my team. They've been, blood, sweat, and tears, haven't been paid, haven't been paid, been paid. It's startups, right?
Yeah.
The amount I can't, I'm great with ideas, but without a team to implement, there's nothing there. So first and foremost, the team. Yes, Diane and the chat is on my team. She's an amazing person to get attention and do some biz dev and stuff, and she's all sorts of fun and awesome. So follow her on Twitter too. She's great. And then, of course, other people out there, Calvin Ayers is one of our investors. So that's a huge thank you to Calvin. Paul Ratchgott and Jimmy Wynn, huge, just friends and kind of evangelists for what we're doing. And then, of course, everybody else in the BSV community has been huge, especially the guys that I got to hang out with going on the trip. From a couple of the BSV companies. So just as a side note, I have some vision issues, which are a pain in the ass. But when I was over in Dubai the first time in December, I actually had a detached retina at the same time.
Ooh.
So I literally could not read anything, couldn't see anything. I wasn't even sure who I was talking to half the time. But like everybody else that was there, like Simit from Enchain and Phil from Veridat. Those guys, they watched out for me. They made sure I didn't walk into things. I didn't spill my drink on somebody important. Help me get to the airport to find my terminal. I couldn't tell the terminals apart. I mean, it was that bad. But this is the kind of the people that are part of the BSV community, right? I mean, they only made fun of me when we were drunk. Outside of that, they were like really good about making sure I was all right, and I got home safely and stuff. And they're all we'll roll up our sleeves. We'll help out whatever you need. And like I'm the same way, but it's so nice having people in a community, and even some of like regular people on Twitter that have just been following us. They're free with their ideas. They're excited. They're nice. I've only had to shoot down a couple of trolls. And by the way, as much as I like to do some trolling and stuff my own, I would just let everybody to know now, don't troll me, because I have control over all the things. And if you don't want some really large irritating thing in your front lawn that's going to stay there until I feel like you've apologized, you should probably not troll me or my company. So just for warning, brands and internet trollers, don't mess with me, because in the long run, I'm going to win.
Awesome. Well, that's incredible, Robert. Thank you so much. I'm going to let you go, and it was really good to meet you. First of all, so I'm glad that we have a relationship now. We can do some crazy things.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a crew,
we love doing fun and interesting things. So we're always willing to entertain ideas and do fun stuff, given time and resources. So
absolutely.
Yeah, sign us up. We'll do some cool stuff.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again. Talk soon.
Right. Bye-bye, everybody.
See ya. So, wow, everybody. Yet again, huge opportunities out there for anybody willing to do the work and get out there and make big stuff happen. I mean, AR, VR, these are all things that, as a 35-year-old, I get to play the occasional VR video game in somebody's living room, or play a little bit of Pokemon Go or whatever else. And, ultimately get back to, hey, got to get back to work, got to do the things that I do. But when you hear this stuff, you hear the tools that are available now, some of the tools that are available soon. There's so much opportunity from a marketing, biz dev standpoint, but anybody developing really cool ideas and really big things. And as I keep saying to everybody, you have the power to go out there and build something cool yourself. You just got to assemble the right teams, and you got to be willing to really burn the candle at both ends, sometimes for years. But this is a huge opportunity. We have this opportunity now where everybody thinks that we don't even actually exist in BSV. We're the blockchain that everybody thinks is just made up, and we're just here goofing around. But there's these incredible entrepreneurs that I bring to you every week here on the CoinGeek live stream, where you get to meet these people that are doing really big things, and they're connected to really big other things, frankly. And this is what continues to give me hope more than all the drama, the crypto stuff, the he said, she said. That's all a side note. This is all stuff for the media squawkers and Twitter. But ultimately, we are going to change the world. We are bringing trillions of dollars in value to the economy that cannot be brought to the economy with any other tool. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the opportunity of a lifetime, not to just stack sats and try to, make yourself the big kahuna by buying early, and maybe you sell someday later, or maybe, whatever. That's all great. I'm happy for everybody that makes money on pumping random tokens and all that stuff. And, as long as you're not the guy that was dumping them on everybody else maliciously, I'm happy for the people that make easy money. But truly, the biggest value is going to be from the people that create an economic tool that can't be created anywhere else, and they sell it to the real world economy. The group of people that do that first, these are going to be the people that are read about in the history books for the next several generations in a row. And I'm excited to see which among you, my delightful audience, are going to do those things. I think Robert's going to be one of those people because holy cow, what a cool idea. But there's lots of them. And frankly, if you're a developer or if you're a business person or if you're a money guy, start making relationships, start building real estate on the only blockchain that scales, Bitcoin SV. So everybody, I want to give a thank you myself, the shout out to the lovely and delightful Alex Moon for being my executive producer, making this crazy, crazy circus happen every week. I really couldn't do it without him. So please follow him on Twitter at Alex_Moon89. He's also a delightful cook and a pretty good friend, too. I'm excited to have a beer with him as soon as this damn pandemic's over. I also owe him a couple of ass kickings for some of the things he says to me in private. So I'm also looking forward to that. And before I go, I also want to give the shout out, as I always do, to my lovely wife and my lovely son. I have a baby girl due sometime in the next 2 weeks or so. And I'm excited to meet her too. I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break probably when that happens. And we're going to have a really cool fill-in for you who's going to take the reins of the show while I take a little bit of a break and deal with the new Wuckert that will be coming. I will debut her name when she comes. But without further ado and without blah, 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 and the rest of the stuff that I always say, that's that. This has been the CoinGeek Weekly live stream. I'm Kurt Wuckert Jr. Share to your friends and peace out. Spirit fingers.
Hi, it's Jimmy Wynn, founding president of Bitcoin Association. I'm excited to announce that the next CoinGeek conference will be held in Zurich, Switzerland. Join us when CoinGeek will again broadcast live to the world, bringing you exciting new developments in the Bitcoin SV ecosystem. Registration is open now, and stay tuned for more details about CoinGeek Zurich.